Hello. Welcome to this week's Private Funds Update. I'm Sandra from SmartEsq. Here's what I learned this week. First, while the Federal Corporate Transparency Act is in flux, the state of New York is pressing ahead. Starting January 1st, 2026, New York is implementing sweeping beneficial ownership reporting requirements that will affect virtually every fund manager with LLCs that are formed or authorized to do business in New York. The LLC Transparency Act requires reporting of individuals owning 25% or more of ownership interests or exercising substantial control, similar to the Federal Corporate Transparency Act. Here's what you need to know. If you formed your LLCs before the effective date, you have until January 1st, 2027 to file. LLCs formed or qualified to do business in New York after January 1st, 2026 have just 30 days after formation or qualification. The penalties are serious, up to $500 per day for noncompliance, with potential marks of delinquent in public records. The good news? Many private funds may qualify for exemptions, including SEC-registered investment advisors and certain pooled investment vehicles they manage. However, you must affirmatively claim these exemptions. Fund sponsors should review their structures now, particularly for blocker entities and SPVs that may not automatically qualify. One critical issue remains unresolved: whether private fund advisors using only the PFA exemption qualify for relief. On the federal regulatory front, looking back of the SEC's actions in the past few months, despite the SEC's public emphasis on fraud cases under Chairman Atkins, the Commission continues aggressive enforcement of technical compliance violations against registered investment advisors and broker-dealers. Recent actions highlight persistent problem areas. Here are a few examples: custody rule violations resulting in $50,000 penalties, marketing rule breaches for unsubstantiated claims, and record-keeping failures, including backdated compliance documents that led to enforcement actions against multiple CCOs. The Commission also continues active enforcement of regulation best interest. Meanwhile, during the government shutdown, over 90% of SEC staff were furloughed, but enforcement did not stop entirely. The SEC filed at least 5 enforcement actions during the shutdown and suspended trading in 8 securities. Chairman Atkins has also previewed significant changes to the Wells process, promising respondents better access to testimony transcripts, key documents, and at least 4 weeks to respond, treating it as an extension of due process rights. As we go into the year-end compensation season, we would like to remind you that private equity and fund managers in the UK face significant changes to carried interest taxation following the October 2024 budget. This is a critical development that will directly impact fund economics and GP compensation structures. Here's the timeline. Starting April 6, 2025, the capital gains tax rate on carried interest in the UK jumps from 28% to a special rate of 32%. But that's just the beginning. From April 2026, qualifying carried interest will be taxed as trading income at an effective rate of approximately 34.1%, though importantly, this is still below the full income tax rates and national insurance contributions in the UK. The government is also consulting on additional conditions for carried interest to benefit from this reduced trading income rate. These may include a minimum co-investment requirement and a minimum holding period between the award and receipt of proceeds. Fund managers with personnel in the UK should closely monitor this consultation, as these requirements could fundamentally alter carried interest structures. The differential between the special 34.1% rate and the top combined rate of 47% for regular income remains significant, but the days of 28% capital gains treatment are ending. Beyond carried interest, the UK's Investment Association has introduced more flexibility in executive compensation principles, now explicitly accepting hybrid schemes for companies with significant US footprints competing for global talent. This includes combinations of performance-based awards and restricted shares. That's it for this week. You can learn more about these topics from me on the SmartEsq platform. If you are curious about the services we offer, please visit www.smartesq.ii.